Well, I think that takes us into our next segment, which is our Mandalorian Season 2 review.
That is exactly what it sounds like.
That was amazing. Uncanny, we're probably getting a copyright strike or something.
Bring it on.
All right, I'm going to let Luke fight him because I'm not...
I just watched Cobra Kai. I know all kinds of things.
Good job.
You made me think of that Vine where the dude gets scared. He's like, I'm not even worried about it. I'll kill you.
I'm not even worried about it. I'll kill you.
So, yeah, we have The Mandalorian Season 2, 8 episodes. The main little quest here. This is a spoiler review.
Forewarning.
We've done some kind of non-spoilery. We kind of did the first 3 episodes. We kind of chatted about because we want to keep talking about things as they're coming out. But
did we do spoilers through Ahsoka?
Yes.
Okay.
We did like the first 3 and then the second 2, and then we haven't talked about it. But we're gonna talk about the season.
Ending.
We're gonna talk the season in whole, kind of what our thoughts are, and then specifically the last couple episodes because we haven't talked about them in depth. Overall, what did you guys think of the season?
Really good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I made a tweet thingy again.
Good for
I've
you.
started writing my tweets out.
Could you go, man?
Planning. He's gonna be the planner of us all here pretty soon.
Probably not.
He's gonna be running this show.
Well, we know it ain't gonna be me.
Tyler, give us your thought.
So my tweet impression, my tweet review-ish thing is Season 2 feels like it was more focused on setting up other shows to start and then finishes at the level we can only hope to see more of in the future. Great performances, better music, and being willing to quote-unquote go there really elevate an unevenly paced season.
Well written.
That was well written. Yeah.
Thanks. Wrote it like 2 hours ago.
Luke, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was up and down for like the first 4. Then he had the Ahsoka episode, and then honestly, from that point on,
that's the turning point.
It was really good.
Yep.
I know the episode that Robert Rodriguez did, we've kind of talked about how it looked weird, like it looked like a fan film, but how the episode that they gave us, what was in it, was really good.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I actually mentioned that one in my cons. Like, one episode is just poorly shot. Yeah. Like, that's all I said about that episode.
I feel like it might just be the fact that it's...
Daytime?
Well, daytime in the volume, and I think this was his first episode in the volume, right? Like, sometimes when it's a new style of shooting, this is not traditional shooting in terms of making a show or a movie. So... that may have just been a little awkward, I guess. What I'm trying to say. But yeah, no, I thought it was noticeable too. But again, good content. Just it was shot a little. It just didn't look quite as polished.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, the first half was up and down. I really liked the first episode, and the second episode, I was like, third episode I really liked. Fourth episode, boo. I was like nervous for the rest of the season, but Ahsoka turned it around, baby.
Yeah, this pretty easily could have been, I think, a 5 or 6 episode season, which I don't want. Like, I don't want seasons that short. But
I would honestly be okay with it if the episodes were longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they were each an hour long, I would be okay with a 6.
Just a really long movie.
Yeah. Yeah, because I thought we were going to get that. The first episode
was like an hour.
54 minutes. Yeah. But we kind of slowly got back to that between 30 and 40 minute range, which works for the most part. I think it keeps things moving, but especially when you get into episodes with characters that you really enjoy. I want to see more Ahsoka, and it's like, oh, give me a longer episode, please.
Yeah.
So I would echo the first half of the season kind of felt like it was unsure of what it needed to do. And by the second half, it realized that it just needed to rip the child away from us completely and give us a rescue mission. Now, I think that really, for me, screwed up the pacing in terms of my level of what I was expecting this season. because I expected more of what we had in the first season, which is adventures of Mando and Grogu together doing things. And from the outset, we know that his mission is to deliver the child to a Jedi. But that doesn't it at no point in this season is that really, other than the tragedy, I think, episode 6, is that ever really taken, like, the characters themselves don't really move the plot forward, except for in that episode. Everything else is just happening to them, which, again, here's Brett's nitpick of storytelling. Have
Brett's
characters
nitpick of
make
the
choices.
week.
Have characters do things. Don't have things happen to the characters. But all that said, I do think this was a very enjoyable season 2. It connected really well to some of the other, specifically Clone Wars, but even OT stuff with Boba Fett, in a way that's not overbearing, and still enjoyable, and gives us new stories with these characters, some characters that we've seen in the past, while still keeping the focus on Mando. So,
Yes.
Well said.
what are your thoughts on the the big thing that we all, I think, want to talk about? Season finale. We finally kind of, like I said, we don't really have much of this questing except when it's convenient for
Good move.
introducing things that we want to talk about, right? Like, we're not really questing until Ahsoka needs to come in. We're not really questing until, Ahsoka and Boba are right back to back. We're going to bring someone in while we're doing the questing thing. And sure enough, here at the end of the season, our quest involves Luke Skywalker coming to save the day. Which I think we all had a big, probably, smile on our face while we watched it the first time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When that X-Wing pops up, and I think it's Kara, goes, an X-Wing.
Yeah.
She says just one X-Wing?
Just one X-Wing?
Every single person was probably just like, no way. No way are they
Literal
doing
words.
This? Who
I
is...
said.
This is a bait and switch. Who is it actually?
Right.
Boom, green lightsaber. Well, Ezra has a green lightsaber. Maybe he just happens to have an X-Wing. It's not Luke. Oh my god, it's Luke. Like that scene where he's just tearing through all the Dark Troopers. Okay. I'm only going to say this once ever. And you can hold me to it, okay?
Okay.
You can hold me to it.
I will hold you to it. You know I will.
This is what people wanted in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. And I feel like it's closure for some people.
Sure.
That they got their Luke standing in front of the First Order with a laser sword moment. I'll never say it again. It felt so good. It felt so good.
I got lots of... I saw lots of responses...
That was the second time you said that to me.
...that were very similar. So yeah, no, I can get that. And I very much enjoyed it too. From a, like, time and space perspective, that fits Luke's character.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem aligning that with where he ends up in the sequel trilogy.
Yep.
There's no, like, disconnect there where it's like, oh, they did this to get back at the filmmakers for doing
I don't
this.
think it was getting back. I just, yeah.
But I hear people, like,
saying that?
Maybe more, or just less implying that, like, oh, finally someone did Luke right. Well, they did Luke the way you wanted them to do Luke.
Right.
But these two versions of Luke aren't incompatible with the story they told later.
Mm-hmm.
But, no, a lot of fun. And actually, I want to walk back just a little bit, because this episode has two really good fight scenes the fight scene with Mando and the Dark Trooper, one Dark Trooper, also awesome.
Yeah.
With his Beskar staff and...
I was so glad he actually used it.
Yeah.
Because I was starting to really get worried that he was just going to have it. Like it was.
Oh,
just
you
this...
had to know he was going to fight Moff with that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried he wasn't going to use it.
I don't remember the exact shot, but it was probably actually like even more than the Luke standing in the shadows of the green lightsaber. My favorite shot in the whole episode is a really quick like Moff brings the darksaber down, like we're separating after we've been fighting for a bit, and Mando like flips the spear behind him.
Yeah.
Just a really quick, and I was like, ooh. I was like, that was pretty. I also love how, I don't know why, I wasn't expecting Moff Gideon to be such a physical fighter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, he's old. Oh, he's kind of whooping on him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's legit.
Use him more. I'm very glad they didn't dispose of him at the end. It's interesting because the end of season 1 kind of had him as this presence, and most of season 2 he's just is that way. He's not used.
He never
really
moves past that
until the last episode, and then it's like, oh, I could have used more of that actually.
Yeah,
next season, baby.
And I was gonna say, I hope that's where we go next season.
Yeah.
If there is a next season, I'm sure there will be.
There is.
Or it's just not next year. Boba Fett's next year.
That's right. They're
They
taking like a year off.
There was some controversy when they announced the Book of Boba Fett that was going to replace season 3, and they quickly said no. Like
they're just going to take.
This
some
is its
time
own thing. We're just not announcing it when season 3 is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys know how I feel about Giancarlo Esposito, so if he's around, I'm here for it. He was awesome in the limited stuff we got from him. I'd like to see him take on like a proper, this is our villain for the season kind of role. Every time though, and in that episode, when he's holding the Darksaber to Grogu, I just laugh so hard because I imagine filming that. Like I imagine, like you know what I mean. Like you're on set and like Giancarlo Esposito is like, he's got like this like air about him, and he's holding this sword and he's like holding it to a puppet. And he's just like really acting it out, and I just cannot help but laugh every time I think about that. And like I know in that moment I'm supposed to be like, oh no, he's gonna kill Grogu, no. But I don't think that. I just laugh at it every time.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys... First, you summed up everything I wanted to say about Luke, so I'm not even going to address it. I agree with your take on that. You and I have talked about that, but you worded it really well. What do you guys think they'll do? How do you think the show works without Grogu?
I think it's going to work a lot better.
I think so too. I think they'll benefit from not feeling like they have to kind of throw that stuff in.
I mean, in the last, I don't know, maybe the whole season, they
really
dump him off to a babysitter.
He's sidelined the entire season. It was so clear that they didn't know
how to use
him without him doing just more of what, theoretically, then every episode he could have done something. Mm-hmm. But then just drained him, and that gets boring after a while too.
But what I do think they used him effectively with Mando though, in making him have an attachment essentially.
I didn't get that as much, but I think that's just because I felt like he was constantly away from him this season. After the first season, yes, had he been stolen at the end of the first season. And,
gotcha.
I just felt like there was constantly this, Mando was being driven more by a sense of duty than a sense of connectedness.
And then they tried to flip it at the end.
And then they try and flip it to be this, oh, well, actually he really cares about him. And for me, it didn't quite hit. It was still, Pedro Pascal acted the hell out of that scene. And I loved it. It just... For me, when you spend the entire season sidelining a character that you want me to be emotionally attached to, I'm not going to be emotionally attached to them. Especially when he's eating people's children.
Yeah, that was such a weird thing to me.
Listen, if we want to talk about emotionally attached to somebody and really out of nowhere, I want to bring up Bill Burr in the episode.
Oh
before.
my goodness!
In The
yes.
Believer.
That like it was a great action episode, but then you get him, Mando, and whatever bad guy talking about Operation Cinder from Star Wars Battlefront 2. What? Like, we gotten 3 references from Battlefront 2, I think now.
Yeah.
1 in The Last Jedi and 2 in Mandalorian, which is just insane. It's like actually canon.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. Great campaign. But to hear him just like talk about Operation Cinder and just blow that guy to smithereens, that was so good.
Yeah.
Maybe the best acting in the season.
Yes.
And from an actor who I don't know if any of us were really impressed with in the first season.
No.
Oh, I couldn't stand him.
We couldn't stand him in the first season.
He also
bringing him back and redeeming himself.
He also hates Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Bill Burr.
That's so funny.
Bill Burr hates Star Wars. He literally took the role last season because he thought it would be funnier for his stand-ups when he talks crap about it.
That sounds.
And he's
that
like
sounds
openly,
like Bill Burr.
he's openly discussed it. But then he comes back and puts on, like you said, probably the strongest performance in the entire show.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good in that episode. And that episode kind of challenges everything, like, ideally for Mando, like taking off his helmet, like doing things he's not comfortable with.
This is the episode that does determine, it shows us what lengths he is willing to go to
What's
to
more
rescue
important?
the child.
Yeah.
Is my creed more important, or is what I, am emotionally attached to here more important? Which is interesting because I'm, in Star Wars we don't talk about emotion a lot because, Jedi suppress emotion, yada yada. But like, I'm really glad that they're able to go there with this, and they do in the TV shows and whatever, but not in their movies.
I killed all of them, not just the men. The women and the children too.
But I do think this is the diamond in the rough of the season. Like the second half, the last 4 episodes are so good, and because episode 5 has Ahsoka, episode 6 is Boba, and episode 8 is like Luke. I think this one, episode 7, does kind of get lost in the conversation. So Luke, I'm really glad you brought that up. Yeah, because it is a fantastic episode overall. Yeah. Other thoughts? Tyler, you mentioned music.
I think I've mentioned music over the course of the season. That's out now. That soundtrack's been out for a couple of weeks. If you haven't listened to it yet, you should. It's amazing. I think. We talk about music all the time when we talk about movies and stuff. Ludwig Göransson is having like the best 2-year span, I think, of any composer. Like, he's absolutely killing it. And to have to find a new sound for Star Wars, like, I cannot imagine being that guy, right? Like, this is something that now 2 years in a row we've gotten Star Wars content. He has been the guy providing the music for it, and it's consistently just been incredible.
Yeah.
Hey, Ludwig, what are you going to do for your Star Wars soundtrack? I'm going to mix country and hip-hop.
Yeah, exactly. No, like, there's hip-hop elements to it. It just gets so... It's so weird, like, when you think of it conceptually, but it works so well for what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is crazily impressive to me. I don't know. That's the soundtrack I probably listen to the most right now.
Yeah.
Is the Mandalorian stuff.
That's awesome.
The music when the Dark Troopers are getting turned on in the finale, dude.
Yeah, it was super good.
I was like, is this real? Like, is this really a Star Wars property? Is this what I'm hearing? It's incredible. Ludwig, man, dude's gonna win everything. He's like 6 years older than you.
He's an even older man.
He is. He's like 37.
Ludwig's old. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the other shows they announced. I mean, Boba included. They announced it in the credits. But then also we had Republic Boys and Girls. I don't remember that
Rangers
one.
of the Republic.
That's it. And the Ahsoka TV show.
So, before we talk about the other shows, I do want to talk about Boba and how I was really nervous about him being in the show. And then I ended up loving how he was in the show.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Perfect. His new look is awesome. with like the skirt kilt thing. Like
Painted armor
sick.
looks good.
He's like a warlock.
He looks awesome. And he's pretty violent, which, jaded old guy probably would be.
Pretty intense.
Been through hell and back. Like, dude's nuts.
He's the Logan of the Star Wars universe.
He is. He's a little nuts. Like, when he's flying around and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I got this." He's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally a crazy person. And we're going to get a show where he just goes around and kills all the people who wronged him. And I cannot wait, because that's going to get just... That's the crazy Star Wars content. When Mando in the Season 1 trailer was cutting people in half with doors,
yeah,
that's going to be Boba weekly. And I cannot wait to see it. Sorry, yes, other shows.
Yeah, I mean, with Boba, I don't think they've totally redeemed him yet. They were... I'll never forget the freaking Return of the Jedi where he gets bumped on his back and dies. Like, that is almost like unforgivable.
What if he gets bumped on the back and dies again?
I might be the happiest Star Wars fan in the world. I think they did really good stuff with Boba, but to me, he's just always going to be the joke of the Star Wars universe. Just because of that one moment. And I'll never get over it.
It's so hard for me with Boba because he's so much more than just... Like, I think of him as the clones, right? He's more than just Boba because he's a clone of Jango, and all of the clones are clones of Jango. Yes, he's his own character, but...
Also, love the joke in the Believer episode where he's like, I think they'll recognize my face. They've only seen like 50 million of me.
Yep. Yeah, that was a great line too. But so, for me, I was probably the most skeptical here about Boba and honestly any kind of cameo characters.
I honestly thought all the cameos were good.
That's my top pro, was new characters and the return of old.
I think
just the way they were all
I think for the
handled.
most part, yes. I would agree 99%. I think it maybe felt there were a lot. Like like going from a season where there was none in season 1 to season 2 where it's like every other episode it's a new returning character.
Mm-hmm.
It did feel for me a little heavy-handed, but I know I'm just the guy who wants Star Wars to keep doing new things and not always referencing the old. So
it's okay with me because
I'm never gonna get that.
The story they're leading into is unfinished, being with Thrawn and Bridger and all that stuff from Rebels, which is what I think we're actually going to lead to. This is the Disney Plus universe with Mando, Ahsoka, and New Republic boy girls.
Rangers
What
of
is it?
the New Republic.
Rangers of the New Republic is the third in this trilogy of Clone Wars Rebels. Whatever this is.
The continuation of that story.
This is gonna be that, because like even Rebels, very similar to Mando season 1. Almost no references.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, here's Ahsoka. Rebels season 2, here's Maul. Here's all this stuff, and then 3 and 4, they're just going crazy.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see a live action Thrawn, and I'm curious who they're gonna cast as Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be really nice to see all these things kind of come to a close, and the fact that they're able to transition into a live action, I think is just super cool.
Yeah, it's a really unique position to be in.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it go the other way, where it's like, oh, we got the prequels, here's an animated show.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a show that's like, hey, we're going to continue this story in live action, actually.
Mm-hmm. So what do we... Like we're talking about these shows that are kind of spinning off of it. Ahsoka, Rangers, Boba. But Mando Season 3, assuming it's happening, which, again, I think has been more or less confirmed, we just don't have a time frame. Like,
I think they're just going to try and time everything, so it's going to be Rangers, Ahsoka,
so
Mando.
all hits in a row.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they did say that it's in that timeline.
It's in the timeline. Is it going to be more? Are we going to Mandalore in season 3? You think?
I don't know if they're gonna go there. I think that might be where they're headed. I think that's he's got to do his Western thing, right? Like he's got to get a new ship. He's got to stop everywhere.
Yeah.
Because Boba and him are done now.
We just had at the end of season 2 here, the big kind of thing they set up is a clash with Bo-Katan over the Darksaber and who that rightfully belongs to and what does she have to do to actually earn it back. And really, she won't just take it, but I don't think she's the kind of person just let him walk away either.
I'm sure they're going to kind of ride around it. They're not going to have her take it away from him. He's going to lose it to somebody, and then she's going to beat them. I mean, because there's theories about this and everything around all the Star Wars people, but she's already been given the Darksaber once, so she can't have it given to her again. And I don't think people really want to, or the writers would want to have them fight, because they're not going to kill each other.
Right.
So there's
so much armor there besides the Beskar. It's like
there's
two trees swatting at each other.
Literal plot armor there.
Yeah. So I mean, Mando's gonna lose it, and then Bo-Katan will be like, "Got it."
Yeah.
Obviously, with more well done.
It'll probably be Moff Gideon again.
Yeah.
It's like that one scene, that one fight in Rebels. You know the one I'm talking about. Super short, but it's so satisfying.
Oh. Yes, that would be very crazy. That was such a great episode.
Indeed.
No spoilers.
Other thoughts on Mando?
Of Rebels.
No. I'm saying I'm in season 2 of first part of that whole thing.
You got a ways to go.
I do.
You'll probably forget by the
Tyler,
time.
you got lots of notes. Anything else you want to talk about?
I just had pros and cons written down.
Yeah, let's go
I wrote
through
down
some pros and cons.
the new characters and a return of some old. So like Timothy Oliphant's character.
Yes, I'm kind of sad I didn't get to see more.
Yeah,
of him.
and that's what I kind of want to talk about. Like I'd like to see more of him, and as Rangers of the New Republic becomes a thing, I'd like to see him maybe fit in there somehow.
Yep, that'd be cool.
And then I had Bill Burr written down. That episode's probably my favorite episode of the season. I wrote that CGI looked even better this season.
Yeah.
I thought everything looked just a little bit cleaner.
Overall, things like even like ships flying,
felts. Ships specifically, I think looked
really
a lot
good.
better. I just was really pleased with that. I wrote Mandalorians. The fact that there was more of them, it's not just him anymore. That was kind of nice.
Hey, there's some in that final episode of or was it the final episode of the first season when he has all the Mando?
Just the armor.
Yeah, it's just all the armor.
No, the armorer was like, hey,
no, he literally has like 10 Mandalorians.
Oh yeah, they do show up.
In
That's right. Yeah,
help fight.
Yeah, but they're not like actual characters.
I know.
Yeah. So it's just kind of nice to have other Mandalorians who have a voice other than the armor. And then
the Razor Crest got obliterated.
Yeah, I knew Luke would be excited about that. In the worst looking episode of the season, they do the best thing for Luke.
No, the best thing was Ahsoka, honestly.
Fair.
More than Luke.
Ahsoka's my favorite Star Wars character. Even though Luke is super great.
Do we need a little Ahsoka statuette in here?
It will be here in a year.
Do we need to go to Holocron again?
No, I got a sideshow of Ahsoka.
Nice.
I put lightsabers are back. Nice to see some sabers flying around in The Mandalorian. We'll get more of that as time goes on. And then I have cons written down. Uneven pacing, which I think you also alluded to. Luke, I don't know if you mentioned that, but I put one episode is just poorly shot. We've talked about that. And then I wrote, I don't agree with that now that I read it again. So I'm not even going to address it. Nope, I hit it already. Yeah, it was something I wrote that I didn't agree with anymore. The more I think about it.
Baby Yoda's a punk.
No, I just wrote that there's like some things that happen that really just don't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's
more
that's
specifically Timothy Oliphant.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one looks good.
But no, I think overall I enjoyed it a lot. I'll watch it again too. I'm trying to get Dana to watch it, but she won't. Loves Star Wars, doesn't want to watch Mandalorian.
What was your favorite episode from season 2?
7.
Believer.
Probably. Oh man. It's. I think it's a tie between probably your two. Luke, your favorite episode is episode 5.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would say mine is probably a tie between the two of those.
Yeah, I could make a case for either of those two episodes being my favorite.
I think the reason I love 5 so much is Ahsoka. Ovs. But it was shot not just like how they've been doing it like a Western, but it was shot like the old Kurosawa samurai films.
It has so much of that Kurosawa influence.
Yeah. It was just so beautiful.
I might go home.
Just binge the whole thing tonight. I'll wait.
No.
But yeah, overall, I really, really, really happy. And I mean, it helps that they ended so strong.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They put together 4 really good episodes.
If those first 4 would have been the first, or the last 4 would have been the first 4, and they ended with the quality of the first 4, probably would be speaking a whole different tune here.
Yep.
Yeah. So should we give our ratings?
Sure.
Yes.
Wait, Tyler, did you say your cons?
Yes.
You said okay.
You were looking at Ahsoka's statues.
I'm sorry.
It's a fanboy worthy for me. Star Wars fans will love it.
Yeah.
Fanboy worthy for me. Star Wars fans will love it.
Fanboy worthy for me. It's close to Booyah.
He didn't.
No, I had to break it.
You're a punk.
Some
like
Star
Grogu.
Wars fans will love it. No, I think
Grogu's a chump.
I think you're right though. I think if it had the consistency in the first half of the season that it did at the end of the season, I think it could be a Booyah. But it's just a little choppy.
Yep.
There in the first half.
That and this is deep Star Wars stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The people that just watch the movies and go, okay, yeah. Maybe they'll enjoy Baby Yoda, but you know what? He's gone. So I'm not gonna recommend you watch it.
No. No, it is maybe a little more because it has so many tie-ins to other things. It is maybe a little harder for someone who's only ever watched the movies and The Mandalorian itself to really understand. I know my parents watch it and they regularly ask us questions about character. Not that it doesn't make the show any less enjoyable, not knowing some of those things, but kind of post watching the show, they can understand things in a little bit better context.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I'm sure everyone's already watched it, so our recommendations mean nothing.
Dana hasn't.
Dana, watch it.
What are you doing?
So,
Not eating candy.
real quick over in the chat, we had
I'm
a
not.
question from Nick.
Well,
It's a psych quote.
In the final episode, Nick wants to ask us about the girl power moment where they storm the bridge. And what happened to that male Mandalorian that was with Bo-Katan? Just kind of gone all of a sudden.
They probably realized he was a bad actor. We're like, yeah, you're not coming back.
I actually like the girl power moment in this. I thought the action scene itself was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like flying off the bridge and flying back up and punching fools in the throat. And
That had some very Clone Wars strategy energy to it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. They do a very similar move in season 7. Is it season 7? Yeah, the season 7. It's not the opening episode. Oh, maybe it is the opening episode. It might be the opening freaking scene of season 7 of Clone Wars.
When they're going to Mandalore and jumping from ship to ship?
No. When they're crossing a bridge and one character just walks out in front, is like,
oh yeah, it's Anakin. He's just like, why are you hiding? They can't hit you.
yeah, he walks out
He's like,
and then like gets all the droids to stop firing, and then his whole troop
It's
come up on the sides with their jetpacks.
it was like the opposite, but the same as Luke in The Last Jedi, which I think is what they were referencing, where he's standing in front of everybody. He's like, you can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, it was sweet.
good show.
I heart Star Wars.
I very much heart Star Wars too.
I'm ruining your paint by putting.
I don't think it's heavy enough to really bend it.
He's using the Force.
He's using the Force to levitate. So yeah, no, that's our show. Thank you to everyone who watched live and commented and I had questions. We really love doing this every week. If you didn't watch live and you want to next week, you can find us over at twitch.tv/whatthefanboy.
You good over there, boss?
I'm good. I haven't drank any of my Starbucks coffee.
How do you drink coffee this?
It's an iced coffee and it's watered down.
James Gunn would hate that. Have you seen his tirades about iced coffee?
No.
Oh, they're great.
Well, now I have to watch that. If
It's
you
just a Twitter thread.
want to watch the show on your own pace and not, just when we go live Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time, you can check out the entire podcast. You find it pretty much anywhere we have podcasts, or you can watch certain segments over on YouTube. And you can find all those links at whatthefanboy.com and follow us on Twitter. Oh, I did have a Twitter poll that I put up. I wonder how many people answered it right before the show. I asked, what would you rate The Mandalorian?
I have one rating, and it's not me this time.
2 out of 2.
Nah, it has a number of votes.
So 2 votes.
It has 6 votes.
I didn't vote.
Neither.
And 50% said booyah, 50% said fanboy worthy. So I think we're kind of on brand with a high level rating.
I demand a recount.
That's not how this works. This is not a democracy.
This isn't America.
Sorry.
Where apparently you can do that.
I couldn't help myself.
Oh, but anyways, thank you for everyone watching, listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.